Africans sold their own people. You've seen this line thrown around in conservative circles in the West for years. Recently, I even heard someone say African kings should pay the UK reparations because, according to them, Britain lost resources and men fighting to stop slavery.
2,000 naval men died on the high seas trying to stop slavery. Why? Because the African kings were rounding up their own people. They had them on cages waiting in the beaches. No one was running into Africa to get them. And I think you're totally right. If reparations need to be paid, we need to go right back to the beginning of that supply chain and say who was rounding up their own people and having them handcuffed in cages. Absolutely. That's where they should start. And maybe, I don't know, the descendants of those families where they died in the high seas trying to stop the slavery, that those families should receive something too, I think, at the same time.
And now, disturbingly, this same line is being echoed by some African Americans.
So are you aware that in Africa, blacks sold other blacks? You're all aware of that, right, into slavery?
Really?
Yeah.
That's a lie.
You're not aware of that?
That's a lie.
At one point in Africa, blacks were using other blacks as money. Did you know that?
But how true is this? It's so far from the truth. The real history is far more complex and far more damning for the European powers than that one-liner suggests. African societies were not one big happy slave market where everyone sold everyone. Across the continent, people fought a series of wars against slavery. They fought against the European powers directly involved in enslaving them. Sometimes they fought against other African groups that had aligned with those same powers. And in every single one of those conflicts, the common denominator was this: European powers, Portuguese, British, French, Dutch, all armed, funded, and politically supported the sides that promoted or profited from slavery. Conflicts can be fluid sometimes. Alliances may change, principles may waver, but one thing didn't change during slavery. The European powers always supported and armed the side that sold slaves against the side that didn't. Let's talk about some of these wars. The Kongo Civil Wars, 1665 to 1709. After King Antonio I was killed, the kingdom split. One side wanted to stop the devastation caused by the slave trade. The other, backed by the Portuguese, pushed it forward. Queen Nzinga's war, 17th century Angola. She fought the Portuguese and their Mbangala allies who raided her people for slaves, delaying their domination for nearly 3 decades. Samori Touré's resistance, 1882 to 1898, West Africa. He built an empire in Guinea and Mali to resist French colonialism and the devastating slave raids that fed the trade. Asante British War, 1824 to 1901, Ghana. There are multiple wars fought to keep British influence and their so-called anti-slavery campaigns, which often marks imperial conquest out of Ashanti territory. Maji Maji Rebellion, 1905 to 1907, Tanzania. This is one of the largest uprisings in East Africa against forced labor system, slavery by another name, under German rule. And there are dozens more like this, from the Benin Kingdom resisting British encroachment to Banga communities in Guinea fleeing and fighting against slave raids. What pattern do you see here? Europe always backed the side that kept the slave trade going. They provided guns, money, political recognition to whoever would keep supplying captives. The people who resisted, the ones who said, enough, this is destroying our people, we are starved of weapons, destabilized, overthrown, or crushed. So why is this myth so powerful today? Colonial propaganda. European powers wrote the history books to make themselves look like reluctant participants, even saviors, rather than the architects of the trade. Modern political convenience. In conservative Western rhetoric, it's a tool used to shut down calls for reparations or historical accountability. Internalized narrative. Some African and African American commentators now repeat it stripped of context, making centuries of resistance invisible and the slave trade look like a purely African failure. The truth is not that Africans sold their own people. The truth is that many Africans fought tooth and nail to stop slavery, often at the cost of their kingdoms, their lives, and their future, while European powers consistently chose profit over humanity. That one sentence, that lazy phrase, erases an entire history of resistance, betrayal, and exploitation.